Good day and welcome back. So, in the video that I shot, there's a bit more of an intro after this intro, but there's something I did want to say. I am starting my new project. This project, as you could tell from the thumbnail and the title, is the Trumpeter Harrier AV-8B night attack fighter, or night fighter, or whatever it's called. I love the jump jet. I love the Harrier. It's a pretty cool machine. And you know, as an engineer, I just really like how the thing works. I will say, I'm not an expert on Harrier. I'm not going to become an expert on Harrier, so there will probably be some. I'm going to do what research I can. I'm going to try and make it look as nice as possible. But I know that there are many folks out there that are actual super specific experts on this particular aircraft. Understand I'm not. So I'm building this to have fun. I am building this. I will be doing some research. There may be some things that will be not entirely accurate, but I'm going to do my best. I feel like this is one of those subjects, kind of like the Tomcat, that a lot of people have very, very strong opinions on. So again, please feel free to offer opinions, suggestions, whatever. Please keep them polite and respectful. Understand that understand who you're talking to. I'm a modeler. I'm an engineer. I am not, an expert in a Harrier, nor I'm going to become one. But I am interested in learning. So please, feel free to offer up information, but just do so respectfully. That's all I ask. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into episode 1 on the Trumpeter AV-8B Night Fight Harrier. Good day and welcome back. This is going to be the next project of mine, and as you can see, it is the AV-8B Harrier 2. Now this is a kit that I did an unboxing for probably 3-ish years ago, quite some time ago. It's been in my stash for a bit. I just got done with a fairly complex and challenging kit with a Mang model, and I happened to be visiting my uncle, who's a Marine, and he had a magazine just sitting out on because he gets it, and well, this one. Right, leatherneck. So for those who are Marines, this was on the cover, and just because I knew I was getting near the end of that other project, and I was thinking about what project to start next. That just sort of was. I kind of took that as serendipity speaking to me and saying, "Hey, let's go ahead and try this one." Now I have heard that this kit has some challenges. I heard that there's some issues with fit, the cockpit, and the fuselage, etc., etc. So we are going to find out, because we're going to go ahead and do it. Like I said, I've done the unboxing already. The link will be down below. I have the instructions here. I have these marking guides. I might actually give a look-see at the just what was that Harrier on the cover of Leatherneck, of that issue of Leatherneck, just so I may give that a try, or we'll go with one of these, not sure yet, but we'll start with what we have. Now I do have an upgrade kit. I picked up this, here we go, the Aries, basically the cockpit set for the Harrier 2, so I do have that. So we'll be starting with this one. Now it does have photo etch, does have the cockpit tub, and so there will be that work to do. So having already gone through the kit parts and so forth, I think it's about time to go ahead and get cracked in. I do have the transfer sheet. Now these are the transfer sheets for what are on the instruction book. I do like this model. I like the subject.
So I'm actually kind of excited to get into this, and let's see just what we can make of it. Yeah, like I said, the reports I have, or the reports I've seen online, are that this model does have some challenges. So I'll go into it with that in mind. So we'll go ahead and we'll start laying things out. We'll get cracked in. I think pretty much we start with the cockpit, because I think that's pretty much how we always have all the, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. Yep, starts off in the cockpit. So I'll go ahead and lay things out and get cracked in. Well, right off the bat, I believe this was also mentioned in one of the videos I'd seen, is huge ejector pin marks right at the intake, and these are, if I recall correctly, right where you're actually going to see. So we'll be filling those. I figure I'd go ahead and fill those and let them dry up while I work on the other things. You know, then get started on the cockpit. So looking at this piece, I pulled out the kit part on the glass, and so the front canopy part is just fine. However, this one not so much. And yeah, you should be able to see it. Actually, if I move this, there's a nice seam line right down the middle. So there will be some, and the det cord thing is on the inside. So now there are aftermarket things that'll just put mask in there for the det cord. I'm thinking about picking one up because they're like $7, which might mean I need to clean that off too. But short version is this has to go away. I know, like on the Tomcat, like the 1/32 Tomcat, there was a seam line that you could just clean part of it, because it basically was an antenna, or it was a thing that was actually in the canopy. But it didn't go the whole way, so you could actually just clean part of it and be done. So I've done this once before, and I'll go ahead and do it again on video here. But we need to basically sand that completely away. So that'll be using multiple different layers of sandpaper, and then sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding until that leaves. So that needs to be done. Oh, the other thing is this. So I have this kit part. Well, not this kit part, but I have this resin part. And it is a better resin part, but it was all, you can see it's all like messed up. But it also looks to be loose enough that what I could do is I could glue it in place and let the canopy actually hold it where it needs to be, and that'll save that detail there, because that's what that looks like. And while I'm looking, let me see. Yeah, here's the kit piece. So that's the detail on the kit piece. That's the detail on the upgrade part. So there's a distinct difference. So as long as I can get this to actually reform by adhering to the canopy, then I can just use that and I'm good. But that will be a matter of having to do this one. You can see how that comes up short. It shouldn't be that short. It should actually be there. So what I'm going to need to do is glue this in a way that it'll form up and stay put, which I think we're going to go ahead and give it a try. So we'll base coat this and get that ready, and then I'll also go ahead and fix that line. So I recorded one of these once before, I believe, when I was doing the Tomcat. But, you know, here we go. It's exactly the same thing. So
start off by using, I start off by using knife edge. That seam is horrendous. It is just huge. So I actually scratch it off with the knife, and then I go back with this 3-layer sanding stick, and you just go, from the gray to the white to the polishing side. And in many cases, that takes care of it, right? And you can see that's, the gray piece. You scuff it up, and you go ahead and spread it out. Go back with the white and finish. At the end, once you've done all that and you've sanded, you polish it till it squeaks, you're pretty clear. I go back here with Tamiya polishing compound, and I find that just gives that extra little oomph. That's clean. Now, if I really wanted to, I could also do a future dip, right? A dip into, future or whatever the stuff is, called these days. But that, super clear floor polish used to be future. But, I find that, the polishing compound does pretty well. And, you end up making that line go away.
Okay, so let's talk details. So we start off with the cockpit, and I have made a few decisions. Again, we're doing the resin cockpit, and this was an interesting experience. I probably didn't do it right, but I got something done, and it will make me content. A couple decisions. Number one, I am not going to use the resin piece here, and it's basically because the whole thing's like warped. It's not just this, but this part's also warped. Basically the whole thing is just sort of twisted, and I really, for that, I really don't feel the need. This will be sufficient. I'm going to hit it with a little bit more wash here for the details. I could put wires and things in there. I may, but probably won't. But other than that, I did do the majority of the rest of this, and it came out okay. I struggled a little bit with a couple of parts, specifically this thing right here, the HUD. I mean, you put these together. There's no, basically you take 4 pieces and sort of make them stick, and it's glass, so it's plastic. So the problem is you need to somehow do that in a way that it's not going to muck it up or fog it or whatever. And as it is, it's a bit that way, but for what it will be under, it'll be okay. I'm just not overly excited about it. The seat came out okay. The seat belts came out okay. And then the details for the switches and all, I think they look better. They do look better than what I would have gotten in the kit. I don't know if these parts need to be sanded off or not. I'm going to find out when I go to put it on, when I go to insert it in here. I don't think it does. I don't think I need to sand those off because I think I've got room. I'm not sure because I haven't put it in place yet. So there's that. Get you over there. I actually haven't tried to do this yet, so you're seeing me try this for the first time on camera. So get ready to laugh. That gets that there. Looks like it might work. Looks like I don't need to. So we get that there. And then we have this part that also needs to come in. And this is going to be entertaining because we've got that and then the wheel. The wheel strut housing thing. So I have a feeling this is going to be, what I understand is there's some challenges with the placement of parts. So given the way this is going in for everything else, this looks like it's going to be something of a challenge. I don't know if I need to remove these or not. I may. It actually feels like I do. Well, maybe not. That looks like it sort of sits where it's supposed to. So maybe what I want to do is get that in place. And then settle this guy over here. If I get that in place and settle it in, It might actually fit. Can't tell for sure. But we'll find out. So anyway, overall, the way this is going in, I feel I like it. I like the way that looks. Some of the details, I think, a little over the top, or maybe not really necessary, but we'll see. Next part. The next thing it takes us to is the engine, which is cool. So you build the engine, and then you have all of this, all of these parts right here. There's zero reason to build any of that. And you see that when you look at this. The entire engine is covered by the wing. Now, if we open up these doors, if we open up these hatches, these here, right, then you can see those. But you can't. I mean, well, it's not that you can't. This assembly doesn't call for that. So if you do that and you choose to do that, then this isn't enough. You've got a lot more work to do to detail that engine up. If you're not going to open those, then there's zero reason to do that. I'm not going to open those doors, so there's zero reason to do that. I also am pointing out that orientation of this to that is incorrect. So when you have these tilted to that angle, this piece right here is actually this way, not this way. It's just the way it is. So I spent time looking at it and fiddling over it, but it wasn't necessary. So basically did these pieces because that's what centers this into the build, but all of the rest of this has no purpose other than to put detail in where detail doesn't have any place. Finally, the landing gear bays. I'm not a fan of where the landing gear go in or how they look when they go in. So if I put this guy in here, right? If I drop this guy in here, come on, get in there. There is that gap right there. Now, once this is in, the majority of what's there isn't visible. So once I find the part, come on, right? So essentially what's going to happen is this landing gear piece is going to sit there and it's going to cover that. So you're really not going to see it. Actually it's backwards, but you get the idea, right? No, wait, it wasn't backwards. So essentially this piece goes in here, that goes in there, but once that's in there, that area that's not covered is not really going to be seen. The other thing is I started to do detail work up in the landing bay, but again, there's no point. It's just not going to be seen. So I apologize for the background noise. My wife's watching sports ball, and she's a little bit of a sports ball fan. So I apologize for the expressions of joy that may come through. Anyway, my point being, the details on the landing bays are not, I could go through the effort of doing detail work, but they're not going to be seen. They're not shown. And I also can't find really good pictures of them. I did just put like an extra wire here for brake line. I don't even know how accurate that is, just to interest this up. And then I'll be hitting this with a wash before I put all this in. But it's one of those, why it's not one of those why. It's just, it is what it is. I don't see the point in going through and putting the extra detail in there. And again, those aircraft builder types, I'm probably creating or probably committing something of a sin here, but I don't see it. So decisions, right? This is where I am. I'm going to put these parts together. So this is where I will basically end this step. And yeah, we'll go from there. I kind of waffled here a good bit on this piece of it. So I just want to explain what my thoughts are. We're going to get the cockpit put in. So I think that's where my next real challenge is going to be, is getting that part done. So let's go ahead and get to that, and then we'll call this episode.
Okay, so that was my heavily waffle-filled start to the Harrier. Yeah, there's a whole lot to dig into here, and like I say in some of the captions, I find things out as I go, and I do talk to myself as I walk through them. And actually watching me build a model is probably got to be incredibly frustrating for some of you experienced guys. But hey, I make these. This is my modeling journey, and this is how I do things. As we go forward, I'm really looking forward to how this. I'm really looking forward to doing this subject. I really like the Harrier, and I feel like this model kit is simplified. It probably is just because I just did that darn Meng one that had 500,000 parts and was incredibly complex, so this is a little less. But there's some work to be done, and I'm looking forward to where we're going. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that this episode and this effort is entertaining, useful, helpful. Please, if anybody has any suggestions, hints, whatever, please feel free to put comments down below. Like I said, I always just ask, please be respectful, and appreciate that I'm learning and that's what I'm doing. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy modeling.